Hello everyone, Kaoz here, and welcome to another old-school RuneScape video. OSRS Mobile turned 6 years old recently, and thanks to a recent update, grinding our favorite cookie clicker game on our phone just got much better. The last video I made on the topic is several years old, and we are revisiting this topic one final time for some chill gains away from our computer. Quick side note, all the clips you're about to watch were done on the previous version of OSRS Mobile, but methods don't change at all. Ladies and gentlemen, if you find this video useful, consider subscribing with notifications on, drop a fat like for the YouTube overlords, and you can join our Discord server with the link in the description to share mobile tips and tricks with our amazing community. The only disclaimer I have for this video is that while you can realistically do anything you want on mobile, what I'm about to show you are my personal favorite methods whenever I need to be away from my computer and still get some gains. This is mostly for leagues, but all the methods showcased today are either low intensity, low effort, or not needing super accurate clicks. So ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the 2024 OSRS Mobile Methods Guide. Let's start with melee, and instead of telling you to go camp the Nightmare Zone, let's do two methods that will need barely any attention. Combining melee and Slayer, take a cannon with you, with auto retaliate on, and most of the Slayer tasks assigned by common Slayer masters can be carried out this way. Whether it be single or multi-combat areas, your cannon will keep the aggro going, and the task is not going to need much attention while doing something else. Make sure to do a few tiers of the combat achievements to load up more cannonballs, naturally increasing AFK time. Now, what happens if you get a Slayer task for which you cannot use a cannon? Well, a couple of weeks ago, we were blessed with a new potion in the form of Potion of Goading. As we referenced many times before, this is the RuneScape 3 equivalent of the Aggression Potion. In old-school RuneScape, non-aggressive monsters will turn aggressive, and one will start attacking every few seconds. By the time you finish the first one, you will already have a bunch of monsters on you, so keep that auto-retaliate on to keep the gains going, until you have to sip another dose. Something I recommend for the early or mid-game at most is training ranged at either rock, sand, or ammonite crabs to get a few levels and hit bigger numbers on your way to higher tier weapons and armor. Technically speaking, you can do the same methods we mentioned previously, but this time using any range setup you want. However, ranged is, in my opinion, the most useful combat style, so you will end up training a lot in the long run and get crazy experience. But if you are training very early on, this method will almost always be viable, granted you don't get crashed along the way. For prayer, we have a super chill method that we haven't talked about since my 1 to 99 prayer guide. Ensouled heads is something you can do risk-free, is fairly cost-effective for prayer experience, and going along the topic of the video, requires barely any attention. Any other prayer training method is heavily click intensive, but with Ensouled Heads you need a maximum of 2 taps every few seconds. Buy whatever tier of Ensouled Head you want according to your budget, grab your corresponding runes to cast the spell needed to reanimate the creature in the Arceus spellbook, and when you're near the Dark Altar, use the spell on the items. With auto retaliate on, you will finish the spirit quite fast, and repeat this process until you take care of all the heads. You will only need some screen time to resupply, but this is by far the best way to train prayer on mobile. Remember that if you use dragon heads you need dragon fire protection, and for avian seeds you need to kill them with ranged. For magic I have 2 spells for you. The first one is string jewelry, and this is a super chill method that gives you a ton of downtime. This is what I used to level up to 99 magic back in RuneScape 2, and I followed the same path when I started playing back in 2018, which provided a ton of experience per hour at barely any attention needed. Check out the wiki for the lowest cost for all of the unstrung amulets, because you will almost always lose money with a spell. On the other hand, we have the spell Plankmake, but like you heard in my most recent money making video, I've talked about this method so much that dedicating any more time to it just feels like I'm recycling content. This is a great way to profit through magic in an AFK way from level 86 to 99. For runecrafting I was thinking about the ZMI altar, but really the only downtime you get is by going from the bank to the altar. Anything before or after that is pretty click intensive. This is why Zaya Runecrafting is my preferred method to train the skill if I'm ever itching some low intensity gains. Despite what you hear in a lot of videos, Zaya Runecrafting is not as AFK as people might think. But for the sake of the video, it's our best option while we play on our phones. Most of the AFK time you get is from mining the dense essence blocks, and you will get a lot more AFK time and profit by doing blood runes. This is because you can go from the Dark Altar to the Blood Altar in just a few clicks thanks to that little spot on the map that gives you some seconds of running automatically. When you get to the altar, you can quickly tap on the screen to chisel the blocks, and go back to the mine for another round. If you end up doing this, remember your runecrafting outfit and your blood essence for even more profit. Construction is the only skill we won't be going into detail for this video. This skill is pretty click intensive even with oak dungeon doors which require 10 planks, the highest number of materials for any type of furniture in the house. And with any type of butler, you're not going to get a lot of downtime. This is the only skill I recommend you do on PC, But if you main OSRS mobile, tell us in the comments how you like to train this skill. Thanks to the mobile version of the game copying some rune-like functionalities, doing rooftop agility courses is easier than ever. If you open the game settings and type the word agility, you can make it so all agility course obstacles and even shortcuts around the game are highlighted in green areas by default. Even with the game a little zoomed out, with proper placement you're not gonna need to move your camera too much. I say green by default because just like Runelight, marks of grace will be highlighted in red whenever they spawn. Clicking on it may require a little more precision, but nothing you can't do with a little bit more focus every few minutes. This is also the case for the Prefiness Agility course, as those obstacles will be highlighted, and you'll require less attention because marks of grace won't spawn in your way. For Herblore, we have a pretty simple one, and that is the absolute best way to train this skill with the lowest amount of effort and attention needed. An added bonus is that you will profit just a little bit. Automatically cleaning grimy herbs will be painfully slow, but it is one of the best activities you can do when OSRS Mobile is something you can do on the side while taking care of something else. Due to the nature of the market, clean herbs will almost always be more expensive than their grimy variants. This is because people can also profit by making unfinished potions for which they need clean herbs. And going from grimy to clean to unfinished potions will take more time to create these ingredients. Make sure to buy the best herb you can on the Grand Exchange, clean them, and sell them back for some of the easiest profit you will ever get in old school RuneScape. Just like herbs, I showcase a thieving method that, while not a great experience per hour, is something you can do with barely any attention. If you go to the fruit stalls in Hosadius and close the door so the dogs don't chomp on you, this will be one of the best thieving activities you can do for low effort gains. You can even keep some of the valuable items like papayas or Galava Nova fruit tops and bank them whenever you need to. Thieving is one of the most click-intensive skills in the entire game, with methods like pyramid plunder, pickpocketing, blackjacking, stealing artifacts, and even the Sorcerer's Garden, which requires a lot more precision and attention. In order to train this at a very chill pace, safely stealing from stalls is the way to go. For crafting, we feature a method that I used on my way to 99 because I didn't have the highest budget available for the skill cape. By buying molten glass with a glass blowing pipe in your inventory, you can make 27 items per cycle while getting extremely generous gains at fairly low cost. You can start this as early as level 1, and the higher the level, the better items at your disposal for more experience per hour. I personally did this from levels 87 to 99 by creating light orbs, but if you do this, remember that these are not tradable and you won't be able to sell them back to the Grand Exchange. But for upwards of 120,000 experience per hour, at just a little bit over a single GP per XP, this is not really going to matter too much unless you are on an extreme budget. If you have a decent stack of molten glass, this is the absolute best way to train the skill with the lowest effort and attention possible. I have showed you how to get the absolute fastest experience per hour for the fletching skills by training on mobile. However, when it comes to low effort, we are going to do something similar to crafting, and use a knife on logs to create the best unstrung bow possible. I say longbow because people use these to string them and then either sell them or high out them, because short bows do not boast the same price and will almost always lose money. If not training the skill via dart tips or unfinished bolts, fletching is a pretty slow skill anyway, so let's use that to our advantage to train whenever you can't pay too much attention to the game and get some chill experience and profit. Hunter also tends to be pretty click intensive when doing methods such as salamanders, chinchompas, or even hunter rumors with a lot of the new creatures for which you have to perform a ton of actions per minute. In order to train this skill with the lowest effort needed, I highly recommend Maniacal Monkeys after completion of Monkey Madness 2. Take as many baskets of bananas as you can, and even bones to bananas tabs, and with your Kruk Monkey Grigri, go north of the cave to mount the gorilla, and then click on any of the rocks around the area to prepare a trap. Wait for a monkey to take the banana, and grab your spoils to set another trap. The only downside to this is that you're not going to profit at all, because the benefit of doing this is simply paying as little attention as possible while training Hunter. Mining sees our highest requirement for this video, and needing level 92, Amethyst rocks provide the highest downtime between actions because of how long they take to harvest. Whenever I record videos for these, it's pretty common to be mining a single rock for upwards of 1 minute or more, but honestly, no other training method offers this amount of downtime. Grab your Prospector outfit to make the most out of the low actions per minute, and with your best pickaxe in hand, stay there until you see your character stops moving. This is by far one of the lowest intensity activities in the entire game, going for a maximum of 22,000 experience per hour. And surprisingly enough, Amethyst is not super cheap, so you will end up with a good chunk of change when you're done with this method. Not much needs to be said about smithing. This can be either extremely fast thanks to the Blast Furnace, extremely interactive thanks to the Giant's Foundry, or super AFK thanks to the more traditional anvil smithing. If you make dart tips at either Varrock or Prefiness, you will have a ton of downtime to focus on other activities. This is ever so slightly improved if you get yourself the Mkando hammer for one more inventory slot to extend those strips. Simply grab metal bars of the highest level you can up to adamant. Click on an anvil, and then the dart tips. Your character will take several seconds to finish them all, and you can go back to the bank to deposit them, or keep them in the inventory but restocking on bars. I say up to adamant because this is not profitable for rune dart tips, so we will have to cope with the second best tier of dart. For fishing we are doing something completely different, and we are going to the Tazar area to fish lava eels. Just like sacred eels, these will take a long time to fish, and you can do other things while getting a full inventory of them. You can use a hammer on each of them to get goodies like tockle, bolt tips, or even lava scales. Of course, you can also do things like sacred eels, fishing anglers, or even sharks at the fishing guild. But like we've said before, money making through gathering skills is not as powerful nowadays because of PVM drops. So if it's not sacred eels, fishing offers a ton of options for your mobile gains. Another one I'll cover quickly is cooking. Whenever we talk about the skill for either AFK or money making, it's just me sitting at the mid-skilled cooking something and saying how great it is for barely any attention. Well, whatever you want to cook for your level, this is a great activity to do on the side. This is pretty much the reason why I have 132 million cooking experience after working a 9 to 5 for 6 months. And my phone sat right next to me my entire shift. It doesn't get much better than this for low experience and money gains. Firemaking may sound like something that takes a lot of clicks or attention through activities like Winter Toad or traditional firemaking, but a method we have showcased in previous videos makes a final return. If you start a fire near a bank, and then right-click with a full inventory of logs, you can add them to the existing fire for 33% of the base experience. This may sound like a lot, but the skill is already cheap enough, and being something that gives you several seconds to AFK is perfect to get one of the easiest 99s in the game. For woodcutting you can try redwood trees, magic trees, or yew trees. Just like fishing, money making through this skill is not what it used to be, so we are aiming for the highest amount of downtime possible. Remember that if you chop redwoods, you can simply drop them, and keep valuable logs like magics or yews. You can make this even better and use either an infernal axe or a felling axe at any of these trees for more AFK time. Just remember that logs will be consumed from time to time, and if money is something you want, stick to a regular axe when focusing on magic or yew trees. For redwoods though, the infernal axe will do wonders, also giving you firemaking experience. Last on the list we have farming. This is a double-edged sword because it's not really low effort since it requires constant clicking to harvest herbs. We have it here though because if you want to be super efficient with your farm runs, you will only have to do this every 80 minutes. If you focus just on herbs and you visit all 10 patches, this won't take longer than 10 or 15 minutes, and you will get either a bunch of supplies for the iron account, or a ton of easy profit for the unrestricted main. You can extend this to trade runs every 24 hours for extra experience, but those take a little bit more time. Whatever you decide to do, farming is and has always been a passive skill you can take care of on PC or mobile. Scapers of all ages, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed and you learned something useful. If you did, tell me what your favorite mobile activity is and why, and if you include the term RSN and your username in your comments, you'll be entered in our weekly bond giveaway, for which we will pick a winner on Friday's stream. I want to thank each and every person on this list for supporting this channel with a monetary subscription, which all goes towards my beautiful wife and my puppy. If you want to be part of this list of legends, click the join button below to see all the cool perks and benefits you can get in the videos, in the live streams, and of course in the Discord. In the next one, I don't know what we'll be doing since I'm still deciding between a few ideas, but I can guarantee it will be a banger. For now, I hope you have an amazing day, have an amazing week, and I will see you then. Peace.